Here are my favorite game-based learning activities for ESL. Number one is running dictation. So this is when you have a conversation between two people, and then like maybe there's Bob, Tim, and I'll cut up Bob's lines into one sheet of paper, Tim's lines, Bob's lines, etc. Generally, I'll have maybe like 8 to 10 slips of paper, and then I tape them at kind of random points around the classroom. Then I put students into pairs. One person is the writer and the listener, and they sit at their desk with a pen and paper. And the other person is the runner. So they read one of the lines, and then they remember it, and then they go back to their partner and tell their partner what to write down. So once they have like all 8 lines or whatever it is that you have, they have to put the conversation into the correct order. The first team to do that is the winner. The second game for ESL is concentration. So this is such a nice way to focus on vocabulary or something like giving advice using should or shouldn't. So for vocabulary, you could do maybe just like a picture of an elephant and then the word elephant, something like that. Or for advice, you could have a small problem. So for example, I can't sleep at night, and then you shouldn't drink coffee at nighttime, something like that, some little advice. So put them all on little squares of paper. I like to have maybe about 16 squares, and then put students into groups of 3 or 4. The first student flips over 2 papers, takes a look. If they're a match, elephant, elephant, they take the paper and then go again. If not, they put it in the same spot, not randomly. Sometimes students have done that. They put it in the same spot and it becomes a memory game. So the next student goes, continue on until all the papers have been matched together. All right, the third game for ESL teachers is Charades or Pictionary. I know that's 2 games, but they're very similar. Charades is acting, Pictionary is drawing. This is a nice way to focus on vocabulary and also have a bit of fun in your class. The fourth game-based learning activity for ESL is board games. So not just any random board game that you bring into class, but I like to design my own. So it's very easy. Come up with a grid, maybe like 5 by 5. I usually use like Google Drive to do it. And then I'll put a bunch of questions on the board focused on like whatever I'm teaching that day. So going back to advice, so maybe I can't sleep at night, and then some other problems like I'm failing my math class, or like my mom is always mad at me, or I think my boyfriend's gonna break up with me. I don't know, just whatever it is, just problems that, like high school students or university students or whoever you're teaching might have. And then I put students into small groups of 3 or 4 and then give them some dice. And they move the number of squares, and then if they land on, like, for example, I can't sleep at night, they have to give some advice related to that. And I like to put some fun squares, like go back to switch places with the person on your left, etc. You can basically make a board game for almost anything. And the final game I have for ESL teachers is Hot Potato. So I'm sure you've played Hot Potato as a kid or seen it kind of on Amazon. You can buy the actual Hot Potato, but you don't need to do that. You could just look on YouTube and there's Hot Potato music, or just get any song you want. And then students pass around an object around the classroom. I recommend something soft. I mean, I've seen it before where people have thrown things, whatever. So bring like a little stuffed animal or a little squishy ball, whatever. Anyway, students pass it around the classroom, and then when the music stops, who's ever holding that object has to do a task of some kind. So it could be a question, they could have to ask a question, etc. Something related to whatever you're teaching. All right, so those are it for my game-based learning activities for ESL. I hope you enjoyed them. You might also love my book, 101 ESL Activities for Kids. I'll put the link in the description for you. Please hit like, subscribe, and tell me your number 1 activity or game for ESL.